Here at MacGyver's Workshop, we build, fix, or re-engineer just about anything. You never know what we'll be working on next. And if you're not too careful, you just might learn something. Hi there. Welcome to another episode of MacGyver's Workshop. Today, we're going to be working on my 1996 Mercury Grand Marquis here. And both of the front window regulators need to be replaced, as well as the motors, because they have a little chintzy plastic gear in there that once the window regulator locks up, then it strips the gears in the motor. So you're pretty well foolish if you don't just go ahead and change the motors anyway when you change your regulator out. Now, I was smart enough when I got the car to go ahead and take the doors apart and grease all the regulators up, because Ford, in their infinite wisdom, decided to use a cable-driven method of raising and lowering. Here, I get the drive side here. Raising and lowering the window, and what happens is over time, this the cable will fray or something will happen, and it'll bind up and get real stiff and hard to raise and lower, and then of course that breaks the little gear inside the motor. So that's where you hear the motor run, but you just hear kind of a crunching, grinding sound, and the window's not going up and down or anything. So but anyway, so that's what we're going to be doing today. And for starters, when you are going to undertake a job like this, the very first thing you need to make sure you have is one of these. And what this is this is like a very large pop rivet tool, and that's for the very large pop rivets that most likely may hold this regulator in place. I'm not sure, I can't remember for positive if this one has it, but I know the T-Birds and the Super Coupes and stuff like that, their window regulators held in with big giant pop rivets. And I see on this new regulator there's two studs here, but there's two holes here, and I think here that's the part that attaches to the window, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe there's two big pop rivets here. And don't fool yourself thinking you can get away with your standard handheld pop rivet tool, because this tool does not have the force to compress the big giant rivets that you're going to be using, which are probably most likely about that big. That's what they call a 1/2-inch rivet, and neither you or Iron Man or He-Man has the strength to pop one of those with one of these tools, which wouldn't work anyway because you don't have a die suitable for it. This is more what's called a body rivet tool, and you can get these for about 20 bucks at Harbor Freight. If they last you one or two jobs, then you're good to go. So stay tuned. I'm going to reposition the camera on the car, and we'll get cracking. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you want to pop these little dangits out right here so that you can get to the screws behind them. And they're primarily what holds the door panel to the body or frame of the door itself. That will just slide off of there like that. Then you want to pop this little fascia out of here. There's a little slot in the very tippy top here. If you use a mini screwdriver, you'll be able to get it out, no sweat. Just pops out like that. Then you want to pop this bit out of here So you lift it up in the back and then ease it on out of there. And that way, at that point, you can go ahead and disconnect all your electricals here. And you'll notice, I don't know if you can see this on the camera or not, but there's Phillips head screws that hold the connector body down to all the switches and stuff on this one. And then this one's just your standard little pop-off thing. Or if you're really brazen, then we can just do this and get this out of here. But these are a little more difficult to work with because you got these Ford Better Idea connectors in them. They're very, very difficult to undo. This one, of course, I'll pop this puppy off of here. And there you have it. Set that aside, and that's all out of your way. Okay, now we have a Phillips head screw that's, well, it's supposed to be there. And there may or may not be one here. This looks like it may have been put there in the past. I don't remember because it's been forever since I had this door apart. And at that point, and the door panel pops up just like that. And I have an extra little speaker on here. But fortunately, I've put enough wire in there to hold that out of the, I can pull the door panel out of the way. And we got two more here for the seats and so forth. Get those out of there. And then, like I say, if you happen to have an extra little, extra little dome tweeter up here, which is really popular, many people put them in there because these door speakers, even a good nice one like this Rockford Fosgate, is a little lacking in the top end frequency response. So you can just flip your door panel over like so and lay it down inside the car here like thusly, and you can proceed to move this all out of the way and start being able to get at your window regulator. See, there's your two pop rivets I was telling you about. So, this is the connector for your window motor. Now it's popped into the door panel here, so we'll see if our little gee-whiz lifty pulley tool will work for us here. Most of the time when they're plastic, these plastic tools don't have a whole lot of oomph to them, but there we go. Disconnect the wire to the motor because we're going to need to get to that here in a minute anyway. And it looks like, we got three more of these pop rivets here. So we got two here, three here, and I believe there was somewhere, there should be, yep, there's the two studs up in the very top. So that looks like 10 millimeter, maybe 11. So we'll get our socket and get our drill and start drilling these rivets out. And if we're lucky, the weather strip in the channel will be tight enough for the window to stay where it belongs. But we're still going to have to take the motor out so we can force the window down to where we can get to the bits that hold the regulator to the window. Okay, so the next step is we're going to remove the motor so we can disengage the regulator enough to push the window down and disconnect the regulator from the window glass. That'll be the next step. But in order to remove that motor on this one, you're going to need, I hope that focuses for you, that's going to be a T30 Torx bit. So we've already disconnected the wiring harness to the motor, so we don't have to worry about that. You can see that. You don't want to get real ham-fisted with this and tear this up, because this is actually very important, this plastic shield here. And it's kind of a moisture barrier. So I know it won't stick back after you peel it off, but that's okay. It'll still be there. That's what's important. Now the motor may fall off with a very loud clunk in here. You want to be gentle with it. You can reach back in here and catch it with your hands through this hole right here. Okay, and you can finagle the regulator cable around here, and then you can work your motor off of the regulator itself. Now, you see if you got all that free play in there, you can tell the gears inside there are stripped. Which is a shame, really, because the motor stays good. It's just this gear bit that busts, and of course you can't buy one of those and rebuild it. So now that we have the motor drive off there, we should be able to push the window down enough to where we can unhook it from the regulator. Just about like so. And get it down there to where we can get to it. Okay, so you want to position your window at this height, because the window itself is also riveted to those two holes I showed you in the regulator. Now here's one of the rivets here, and the other one, this is why you have to have your window positioned right here, is so you can get at it through this hole right here. Now I'm using it's probably somewhere around a 3/8 bit maybe, and it'll sit right in there. And you may have to set your bit out a little bit to be able to get to reach in here, and just drill it right on through, and you will have this will come out from the other side. You see, that's the back side of the rivet. That is what seats the window glass to the regulator itself. Now we'll go ahead and drill this one, but you want to make sure you support it. And just go real gentle. You don't want to tear anything up. And you don't want to over drill your hole either. There you go. Gently reverse your drill, and out she comes. Get all your bits out of there, so that there are bits and chips and things, so that they don't sit there and rattle around in the door after you're done. At that point, push the regulator down.